You know, when it comes to raising kids these days, it feels like we're all caught up in this constant race. There's so much pressure to teach, to push, to make absolutely sure they don't fall behind. But what if the best thing we could possibly do is just to take a step back and let them grow? That's what we're going to dig into.
And really, this is the big question, isn't it? It's the one that's kind of echoing in the back of every parent's mind. You see the flashcards for babies, the coding classes for toddlers, and you just have to wonder, is all this pressure actually helping? Or could it be doing some real harm that we can't even see yet?
This quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. This whole fear of losing at the starting line isn't just stressing us out. It's trickling down and having a huge negative impact on our kids, the very people we're trying so desperately to help.
Okay, so let's dive into that. Let's look at the actual measurable consequences of this early education arms race. What really happens when we start treating childhood like it's some kind of competition? It really comes down to this critical trade-off. On one hand, yeah, you might see some short-term gains. Your kid might memorize their letters or numbers a little earlier. But look at the long-term risks. We're talking about deep-seated anxiety, burnout before they even set foot in a real school, and maybe worst of all, a genuine dislike for learning itself. And that's not even getting into the physical stuff. Let's put some hard numbers on this. Research shows that all this early academic pressure can jack up a child's stress hormones, like cortisol, by as much as 20%. And that's not just them feeling a little stressed out. No, this is a physiological change that can actually mess with their healthy brain development, affecting things like memory and how they handle their emotions later on. And what about the physical toll? I mean, think about it. We're forcing these little bodies, whose bones are still forming, to sit still for long stretches of time. Doing that increases their risk of developing posture problems by a whopping 35%. Their bodies are made to run and jump and explore, not to be stuck behind a desk. And it doesn't stop there, it even affects their eyesight. All that excessive close-up work, whether it's from books or screens, boosts the risk of vision fatigue by 40%. This can even lead to nearsightedness down the road. So when you add it all up, the conclusion is, it's pretty clear. The price of this starting line anxiety is just way, way too high. So if that's the problem, then what's the answer? Well, that brings us to a much better way, a philosophy called natural contact. It's all about building a completely different and, frankly, a much healthier foundation for our kids. It's a foundation that's built on simplicity and trust in their own natural instincts.
The whole idea is captured in this simple little formula. Contact leads to experience, and experience fuels exploration. See, your role as a parent totally shifts. You stop being the teacher, and you become what they call an environment creator and companion. Your job is just to provide a safe space with interesting things. You know, sand, water, blocks, books. And then you just hang out with them while they lead the way on their own adventure of discovery. Now, this isn't just some feel-good idea, okay? This is all backed by some pretty serious science. So let's take a look at what's actually going on inside a child's brain during these critical first few years, and exactly why this natural, play-based approach works so incredibly well. Just look at this growth spurt. It's absolutely mind-blowing. From the day they're born until age 3, their brain is just a whirlwind, reaching 80% of its adult size. Get this, over 1 million new neural connections are forming every single day. And what fuels that growth? It's not lessons, it's sensory stuff. Touch, sound, sight. Then, from 3 to 5, it hits 90% of its adult size, and you see this explosion in motor skills and imagination. This chart really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? A full 90% of the brain's adult volume is locked in by the time they turn 5. The entire foundation for a lifetime of learning, handling emotions, and solving problems, it's all being built right here, right now, and it's being built through play. And the psychological benefits? They're just as massive. When a kid is just lost in play, something truly amazing is happening. It's building a secure, loving bond with you, the person who's making them feel safe. It's feeding their natural curiosity. Every little tower they build, every puzzle piece they fit, it's building real, genuine confidence. And the research backs this up. This kind of play can actually boost crucial skills like creativity and executive function by up to 25%. Okay, so we get the why. That all makes sense. Now let's talk about the how. Because the good news is, this doesn't have to be complicated at all. Here are some really clear, practical steps to actually put this whole philosophy into practice in your own home. So your new role is pretty straightforward. First, just watch them. What are they naturally into? If they're obsessed with splashing in water, give them more chances to play with water. Simple. Second, when you give them praise, praise how hard they're trying. Wow, you worked so hard on that tower.
not just the result. That's what builds resilience. Third, think about getting ready for school as building their confidence, not just stuffing their heads with facts. And last, just keep an eye on them. If they seem stressed, dial it back. More play, less pressure. And it's just as important to know what not to do. It's so easy to fall into these common traps. Handing them a tablet with some educational app on it, that's not a substitute for real-world play, and it can actually increase the risk of attention problems. And please, don't rush in to solve every little problem for them. Small failures are how they learn to be resilient. And finally, just forget the stereotypes. If your son loves painting or your daughter loves building trucks, great. Just follow their lead. Their unique interests are what really matter. So this all leads us to our final, and honestly our most important point. We have to completely change the way we think about what success looks like in these first few years. It's not about what they know, it's about who they're becoming.
So let's throw out the old report card and use this one instead. Forget the ABCs for a second. Ask yourself this. Are they curious? Do they ask a million questions? Are they generally happy? When they have a tantrum, do they bounce back okay? Do they love to run and jump and just move their bodies? And are they confident enough to try something new, even if they might fail? These are the real signs of a healthy, thriving kid who is truly ready for a lifetime of learning.
This story just says it all, really. One kid was pushed into school at age 6. He was the youngest in his class, and he developed this self-doubt that stuck with him for years. The second kid, he was given time to grow up a bit, to build his confidence at home through play. He started school later, at 8, and he absolutely soared. That is the incredible difference this approach can make.
So, we'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. What's actually more important? A child who can stand there and recite the alphabet on command, or a child who looks at the world around them and constantly asks why? Because let's be honest, the child who asks why is the one who will never, ever stop learning.